Hi everyone, and welcome back. Episode 107. We have a good one today, so I hope you're ready. I'm ready, and we're going to talk about relationships. I'm starting out with a quote, as I like to do, from Paulo Coelho. 11 Minutes is the name of this book. The strongest love is the love that can demonstrate its fragility. We talked in episode 102 about the importance of the relationship with yourself. It's the single most important relationship in life. It's also the one we most often neglect. We're occupied thinking about how well our relationships and friendships with others are going. And we do put a lot of effort towards making them work. And when they don't, it clearly affects us. Yet, we all respond differently. Some of us retreat into ourselves, trying to sort our feelings out on the inside. Others seek help and advice from friends or professionals. And some turn away. They're trying to distract themselves from their worries. Whatever it is you do, I feel there's one thing we all don't do enough of. And that is the actual working through the issues that arise in our relationships. Confronting is a harsh word I don't like very much. It has somehow an aggressive tone to it. I like the word meeting as a verb. The noun, not so much. Reminds me of hours and hours tied to a chair in windowless rooms wasting valuable time. But the verb meeting is beautiful. Meeting with equals saying hello and inviting the other person, his or her feelings, words and actions, and working with them. What does that mean? I want to spend some time in today's episode talking about meeting with your relationships. Whatever the problems and situations are that you face in your relationship, there are a few common views we can all consider. Look at them as your starting point, your baseline. And your baseline always starts with yourself. I want to clarify two things here before I go any further. One, when I spoke about starting with yourself in episode 102, I don't mean to blame yourself. I know that many of us have this tendency. When things don't work out, we blame ourselves. Blame and guilt is not productive. Remember, our goal is to make our relationships work and flourish. Work means energy and effort. Self-condemnation is passive. It's like sitting at home and lamenting the fact that you've lost your job without getting up and looking for another one. Until you search for one, it's highly unlikely it will land at your doorstep. It's the same with feelings of guilt and blame. They don't get you a better relationship. And two, relationships involve other people. While we talk a lot about the relationships with ourselves, I'd like to point out that the burden of making relationships work doesn't lie all on us. It involves working with the other person. It doesn't mean forcing them to do anything particular, but it means taking into account their personality and their uniqueness as a human. And then accepting who this person is and working with that. We cannot make someone be someone else, but we can help bring their best out. So here are a few things that I feel are a wonderful starting point for meeting or facing your relationships. And these are all about you. Remember, it all starts with you. We can hope and expect all day long a laundry list of things the other person should say or do, but that is a waste of energy and time. Instead, we want to start with us. In the next episode on relationships, I will cover a little bit more about the approaches we can take when things get complicated with our partner or our friend. And remember, when I talk about relationships, it's really about all the important people in your life. Your partner, your friends, your co-workers, your boss, all the people that you meet daily. 1, a meeting starts with you showing up. It's the most important aspect of any relationship. You show up. What does that mean? It means being present, both physically and emotionally. It means in good times and in bad ones. Do we need space sometimes? Sure, but there's nothing worse than disappearing every time when things get a little complicated. That is sending the message of, I'm really not in this 100%. The silence treatment or tuning the other person out, ignoring their requests for conversations, that to me is showing emotional unavailability. You're closing yourself off to your partner and the possibility of resolving the issues, of making the relationship work. Presence is critical in any relationship. You have to want this. And this is a good time to ask, do I really want this relationship or this friendship? And then be honest with yourself. If you can't bring yourself to show up and be present, then maybe it's not something that you want. When you decide you want it, then you show up. It's the same for friendships. Make your presence seen and known in your words and most importantly in your actions. Show that you are here despite what the other person does. Not a clingy, desperate kind of presence. Nothing forced. Not texting your friend every 5 seconds or driving by their house. Think about how you can let the other person know that they have your support. It's often as simple as letting them know you are available. Hey, I'm here if you want to talk. The second part of the meeting, after you show up, you step up. You put yourself out there. Again, being passive is not living a relationship actively. Retreating into your feelings of guilt and anger and resentment, that's not stepping up to the relationship. A relationship is like anything else you undertake in life with the goal to make it work. Recall that job search example? Your health, your finances, just like you put forth effort in the areas of your life that have to do with your well-being, you do the same with relationships. Stepping up is putting yourself out there. If things aren't working, you speak up. If you feel hurt, disappointed in some way, with your needs unmet, then you need to find a way to express it. It means giving a little. It means feeling safe enough to show some vulnerability. Take a step, move towards the other person. Express what is on your mind. Propose a change. Suggest something new. Too often, we just wait. We complain to our friends. Oh, I wish he would do this or that. Have you ever expressed these wishes to your partner or your friend? Have you communicated your needs and desires in a proper way so your partner can actually be aware of them and consider them? I realize this requires courage, which we often don't have. We don't want to disturb the peace. We are afraid of the reactions. However, change will not take place if everything stays status quo. So think about this. Can you tolerate to talk about your differences? Can you show some vulnerability? And number 3, the last step of meeting in your relationship is to connect. So you show your presence, you show your availability, then you step up. You contribute with your uniqueness to the relationship, so the other person has a chance to get to know you and consider you. Just like you want to work with them, so they want to work with you. And the last part is connection, which closes the loop. I'm here for you, I'm with you. I'd like for us to explore some more adventure in our relationship. How do you feel about X? And then, the last part is to seek that connection. And that involves being open to your partner, his or her suggestions and feedback. Connection is best established with asking a question and then listening, truly listening for an answer. It may not be the answer you want to or like to hear, but it is an answer. And you work with that. That is where the back and forth of the relationship comes into play. Not in the form of arguing, accusing, and disrespecting, but in an open communication filled with empathy for the other person, respect for the relationship, and an effort to come together. Connection is often compromise. It's understanding what is really going on and being open to it. It's coming to an agreement despite the disagreement. But you see how this is easier to accomplish when you have the right starting point. When you come from a place of openness and vulnerability. When we are closed off. When we carry resentment, even the most insignificant conversation can turn into huge arguments. So consider these 3 steps next time you're thinking about your partner, your friend, your coworker, about the disagreement that stands between you, or an issue that you'd like to address. How can you meet the person? Show up lean in, and try to connect. And this is a loop. It repeats over and over again. When the conversation doesn't go the way you thought, you don't shut down, leave, or get aggressive. You stay with it. You continue to show your presence and your commitment to it. You lean in a little and you try to connect. These are my thoughts on relationships as a starting point for you to consider. And I hope these help you. Maybe there is some disagreement you have currently going on with another person, or something that's on your mind and that bothers you. I really hope and wish that you're able to get a step closer towards resolution with my thoughts today. And to end with a quote from Haruki Murakami. Norwegian Wood is the book. What happens when people open their hearts? They get better. I wish that you get better. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Much love.